Timeout podcast with Jensen Maydew, Tony Caranco, and your host, Wes Underwood.
And welcome into the Sports Timeout podcast, brought to you by Jeffersons, free fried pickle Fridays. And also, if you're a college student, 50-cent boneless Thursdays are back and they're still going. So get on over there, check them out. When you get done there, schedule your appointment at Robert's Integrative Dentistry in Joplin. If you're looking for that brighter, straighter smile and to get those chicken wings out of your teeth when you're done, just head on over. Be sure to schedule that appointment first at 417-622-0404. And also, don't forget to check out TeeTime, Web City. Leagues are closing out, but they got some more coming. Pay attention to their page for that. And if none of that intrigues you, iced coffee at TeeTime, super good. Super good. Can't complain. Need to get back over there. It's been a couple weeks. Been super busy at work. So, just ready to get back there. Have some fun. Wes Underwood, Clint, Tony, out. Jensen's back. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be back. I know I've been busy the past couple weeks.
Man, we've all been there, and it's definitely been a busy 2 weeks for sure. There's a lot going on.
With the holidays coming up, with the past 2 weeks, I'm unprepared for the holiday season.
Yeah. Hey, I got all my Christmas shopping out of the way, so just saying.
That's impressive.
I took the weekend one weekend. Wife was gone doing something. Got it done. Boom.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm
both
jealous.
of them. Kiddo and the wife. That's good. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But well, you should get yours done this weekend.
I should. Am I going to? Probably not.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it just happened to luck out for me on the day that I got it done. We had a half day at school, so it was nice.
That is nice.
So just went
Yeah.
on over there and boom, had 2 hours to spend time. So
Yeah, I don't understand how people those people that are done with Christmas shopping by the summer. Like, how do you do that?
I mean, I've already got my Christmas lights up, my trees out front, trees in the living room, trees in the kitchen, and all the lights are up now. So
Dang, you're on top of it.
yeah, this year I am. And we're solar, so it's all going off that too.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
that's super awesome to know
Yeah.
that everything's working good. But thanks, Tony. Yeah, Ridgeline, shout out. But yep, before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button on YouTube. And first up, we'll talk NCAA in the top 25 in football, and we focus on the top 12 in the top 25. And we'll branch out here a little bit after the top 12 and just give some opinions. But Oregon remains number one. They beat Ohio State. They beat Illinois. They went out. I'm okay with them being number one, to be honest. I mean, they've done their due diligence. They've done what they're supposed to do, and they've prepared for their games. And I mean, even though they just barely beat Ohio State, they were able to do it. They carried out a game plan and they pulled it off. So kudos to them. They are in that number one, in my opinion. Talking of Ohio State there, I don't see how they're number two. I mean, you edge out Penn State and Nebraska. You lose to Oregon. Indiana is 10-0. They're sitting at 5. They have blown out every opponent except Michigan. They got real close with Michigan. And then they go to Ohio State next Saturday. So I guess we'll be waiting on that one to see what happens. But I mean, hopefully Indiana blows out Ohio State because this Indiana hype right now is pretty good. And I'm pretty certain this Indiana-Ohio State game is where Pat McAfee and the Game Day show is going to go next because Indiana's kicking some butt out there. I mean, they're legit straight up blowing out opponents. It's crazy. Like I said, I think it was just Nebraska or Michigan. Sorry, Michigan there that they didn't blow out, and Michigan was in the top 25 to begin the season. So I mean, that's still technically a top 25 opponent. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, and we'll see what happens. But Texas is the 3, Penn State's the 4, and then at 6 you got BYU, 7's Tennessee, Eight's Notre Dame. Number nine's Miami. 10 is Bama. Okay, cool. 11's Ole Miss. All right, they've earned their way back in. They've had a couple big wins here and there. 12 is Georgia. I mean, look, I'm gonna say it. Colorado and Mizzou. Well, I'll start on Mizzou's side because one, we're in Missouri. Two, I'm a Mizzou fan. Three, I mean, we've got something to complain about. Okay. Uh, Mizzou's side currently tied in the conference with Georgia, Bama, and Ole Miss. Okay. I can see where Bama's ahead of them. I can see that. They beat them. I mean, yeah, you did lose to them in a relatively close game. Three straight INTs in that game from a backup quarterback who didn't even think he'd see the field that game. Came in completely rattled. Then you watch what he did against Oklahoma. Kind of makes you second guess that, but Pine is definitely not the answer. Did he get the job done against Oklahoma? Yeah, but Mizzou's defense came up big against Oklahoma. So I don't know. Three straight interceptions, though, in that game to Alabama. You're going to lose momentum any team in college football if you throw three straight picks, and two of them ended up going for touchdowns afterwards, and one of them ended up resulting in a field goal. So I don't know. That is just insane to me that Mizzou's that far down, means that they're tied with those teams in the same conference as they play some of the same teams in that conference. So I don't know. It's crazy to see that. And they did beat 24 at the time Boston College, the Missouri Tigers did. And then they beat Auburn. Auburn's still a tough opponent regardless. And then they beat a decent OU team, like I just mentioned. And I mean, I feel like Mizzou is kind of just catching wind of the Chiefs and getting horrible calls because there's a referee in the game that was just horrible. And you can go back and watch this game, Jensen, and whoever else is listening out there. You can go back and watch this game. This is the most unsure official I've seen in sports. He'll go up, he'll make his calls, and he'll just stare like this straight up into the stands, not into anybody. Don't even know what he's looking at. And see how I'm just doing this right now? Like he's just doing this the whole time, the whole game. He'll run over to the other officials on the field. His head will be down, and then he'll look straight up and he'll just kind of be like, uh-huh, uh-huh, and then kind of touch his ears, get ready for his mic. And it's like the dude's got it scripted into his brain, like what he's gonna say. And I mean, again, if he's got special needs, I'm sorry for saying this, but if not, if you're just a dude who's embarrassed to make a call and is that stressed out, I feel like you shouldn't be an official. But I mean, there's tons of them out there. There's the officials that just already know what they're going to say. They're going to look at it. They're going to see what their judge that's in the game with them says. And yeah, I don't know. He did it against Arkansas. Arkansas got the blunt end of that too. And I don't know if he's just an official who doesn't like the SEC and then gets put in the SEC and he's like, crap,
Maybe.
this is miserable. I don't want to be here. Let's just get this game over with. But I was watching an Arkansas game a couple weeks back, same ref doing the same thing, and it looks horrible. Like he's so unsure of himself, makes weird calls, doesn't stick up for himself, and then on plays that should have been reviewed in both games, he didn't go look at him. Like he just, let's go, let's get it going. And I'm like, you got to review that. It was a score. Like I don't know, it's weird, but
Has there been like, has there been social media or like have people called him out?
I don't know. I know I did. But and that was even for Arkansas. I'm not a huge Arkansas fan, but I watched that game and I'm just like, hey, NCAA, I don't know who to tweet there. I don't know who to get a hold of like I do the NFL because you have the NFL officials and then you have the NFL and then you have Roger Goodell that you can tweet at. But I don't know if NCAA commissioner and all that jazz is out there. So I don't know who to get a hold of there other than just tweeting hashtag all that jazz to the teams themselves. And then, yeah,
Interesting.
so it's weird. seeing that stuff in college football, and you can kind of sometimes see the favoritism because clearly the officials were going for Oklahoma in that game. They tried so hard to get Mizzou penalized and penalized, but Mizzou's defense, kind of like Kansas City Chiefs defense, they just kept finding ways. They were relentless. And to come up big in the fourth quarter like that, OU's going down the field, and they're either going to tie it or and take it into overtime more, or it's going to be over. And Mizzou's defense luckily just went in, got quarterback out of momentum, swatted that ball out and fumble and scored. So, oh man, it was a heck of a game. But after that, though, even OU was a contender last year. I feel like this Mizzou team should just get a little bit more acknowledgement. I mean, like you've said, and I've said, we got Louisville out there. I know Tony's a firm hater in Louisville. I, do I agree that they're in the top 25? No, but have they earned their spot where they're at now? Yeah. After the last few games that I've watched, yeah. And then Indiana, teams aren't giving Indiana the respect. They're 10 and 0. They're
That's
10
crazy.
and 0. Yeah. And again, yeah, they got a big game coming up, but 10 and 0 right now and they're sitting there just
Yeah.
just outside of it. And I'm like, you got to give them more credit. They're definitely better, in my opinion, than Miami. They're definitely better, in my opinion, than Notre Dame. They're definitely better, in my opinion, than BYU. But BYU's in the Big 12. Notre Dame, I mean, they've always been a team that's always in the top 25 regardless at points. Miami, they were always a team that was in the top 25. And then you got Bama, who was a team that's always been up there, and it's hard to see them out. I get that, but you don't just automatically put Ole Miss and Bama in the college football playoff. I guarantee you're going to have more fans if you get rid of those two teams. Well, not just those two, but if you get rid of Bama for sure, Penn State, they've earned their spot. They've come back from all those allegations and, oh, what was it? Everything that happened during the Paterno era, suspensions and all that jazz. I mean, fans are calling for their head coach to be fired, but I'm like, he's got him in the college football playoff. Why? Why would you be upset at that? So I don't know. A lot on my chest here for that. Do you have anything else on this, or you good on top 25?
I think I'm good. I haven't been able to it was what, 2 weeks ago? We went to the Kansas State football game
Yeah.
against Houston, and it was literally so miserable. Um, so yeah, I don't recommend going to a football game where it's pouring down rain and your team is losing. So
I've done that once.
it was
Chiefs.
miserable, miserable.
Yeah. It's not fun. I'd rather it be snow for sure.
I honestly I think I agree with that.
Like, I'd rather have snow because you can move it out and it doesn't just get you all wet right away.
Yeah,
Rain, you're just instantly drenched if even if it's just raining for 2 minutes.
that should
You're
be like
done.
a poll. That should be a poll, like on our Facebook page or something.
Well, I mean, going off cuff here, I mean, concerts. I've been to a rain concert and I've had to sit there and endure that and it's horrible.
Yeah,
So,
horrible.
I don't know. I feel like being wet is worse than being snowed on. I don't know. I
Yeah, I see your point. I feel like
yeah.
only Midwestern people get your point.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next up we'll head into the NFL and we'll talk Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, and here we are again talking about him a few weeks later. I mean, we touched base on what I called when the Chiefs traded him, okay? Because I've had people come at me on this, and I mean, Excuse City just takes over for him, and we all knew about the off-season surgery, okay? Everything that came out. Now his production's down. Tua, no Tua, then Tua again, and all of a sudden we come out with my wrist hurts. I injured it in a joint practice back in August. It got worse as I played and missed time. Last year's league leading receiver has now opted out of surgery, but here's the other thing. He ranks 37th in the league through 9 games, 462 yards, worst since 2019. And do you buy the injury or do you think his production will continue to decline like I've predicted? Because, I mean, here he is hitting 30 and he's already starting to show aging, wearing, tearing, and blaming his quarterbacks. Like, if you're the greatest at your position, doesn't matter what quarterback you have, you should be able to adjust and make that quarterback look great. My opinion,
I can see that. Yeah.
especially with as loudmouth as he is.
I just think that like I think we've talked about this before about I think he just has a lot going on outside of football.
Oh, absolutely.
And then that doesn't obviously aging and just like the toll that football takes on your body after so many years, like
His
that
mental's
obviously
not there anymore.
yeah. And so I think it's just like a perfect storm for him. But his ego is like too strong to like see that or admit that.
Yeah,
So
I think 29 was the pinnacle of his career, and it was. I mean, he led the league. It was the most yards he's had ever, and this year we're seeing, oh, 30. Man, I actually really tore something in my leg area. Got to get that checked out. Okay, had the surgery. Now I got to get back in. Oh, my hand. It's like an automatic switch at 30, like for receivers, cornerbacks, linebackers. Like once you hit 30, if you signed a contract for however long, because this is why they're getting younger and younger. You got guys who can come into the league legally at 18, 19 years old, because you can leave college now and do that. You've got guys who are 20, 21, obviously, when they leave college for sure. And then you got your guys who come in at like 22, 23, and it's like, oh, wow, you're getting old. 22, 23. How much you got left in the tank type thing. I mean, he gave his all in Kansas City. He did. He's given his all in Miami, but the more all you give, the more wear and tear is going to happen. And let's be honest, when you were in Kansas City, even though you had good seasons, you were hurt constantly. Playoffs came around and you were always unsure. You were a game time decision. And to be quite honest, if you didn't have Scott Boras, I don't think you would have had the money you had. Just saying. I mean, I don't think you would have ended up in Miami. I think you would have stayed in Kansas City. He would have been unhappy and he would have been stuck with Patrick Mahomes instead of the great Tua. All right, cool. Worst case scenario, you got 2 more Super Bowls. Best case scenario, you retired with one. So, I don't know. It's weird.
yeah, I feel like there's always something going on with him.
All the time. All the time. And as Chiefs fans, we always hated it.
Yeah.
Girlfriends, child, you name it. Everything was on the table with him.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Next in the NFL, we talked the Colts. Quarterback Anthony Richardson. Bro got winded. Okay. Replaced by Flacco immediately. Left the game. And then after 0-2 record is now being put back in. Do you think the quarterback learned his lesson? Do you think he'll be effective against the Jets this week and moving forward? What are your thoughts here? Winded.
I don't
What?
know.
Okay. No, no, no. Sorry. Before we get started, if you were to tell your coach in basketball that you were winded, what would have happened?
Um, they would have taken me out and I would have got yelled at and then I probably would have had to do like extra conditioning.
Do you think you would have been benched a game or so?
Uh, I don't think I would have been benched, no.
No?
But I would definitely have gotten a very nice talking to.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're legit straight up hurt, and his thing in the press conference was, I was just winded. I was tired. It's your job, dude.
Yeah. And especially to say that like in a press conference. You know what I mean? It's different just to say it like, to your teammate or whatever. But yeah, that's crazy.
I I was baffled when I heard it. I thought the media was joking, and then I saw the soundbite, and I'm like, that dude's gone. And then the next day he's benched. It's like, saw that coming? Did you not? Like, cool.
But you know who else did that? Not to like change to a different sport, but Anthony Edwards definitely like was like I was tired
Yeah,
in the
true.
playoffs last. Yeah, so
Ah, you're a quarterback though. You're the franchise guy. You got to be the tough guy.
or just like not say it to a press.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah,
it's that generation, I guess. They're not afraid anymore.
that's fair.
So,
That's yeah. Honestly, the Colts are just kind of a hot mess in general.
got to find the guy that's on TikTok that sings, "This is our Colts. This is our team. We love you," and stuff like that. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like to the music of a Christian song, but he changed the lyrics to the Colts. And then he's like, he's got tons of followers and viewers, and he's done an amazing job at advertising it, but it's so awkward to watch. But good for him.
Yeah, good for
Just like the
him.
Colts.
Yeah, it'll be
It
interesting
is.
to see what happens this week.
True. We'll see. I mean, the last time he was in, he got a win, even though he was winded. But hey, all
A
right.
win.
Yeah, true. Now we talk NBA. And Jensen, a few weeks ago, we talked the beginning of the season. We said we'd come back in a little bit, and now we're at 13 games in. We talked the Cavs. They're a perfect 13-0. Mitchell, Garland, Allen, Goro, Mobley, if healthy, is this the new team to beat? And I mean, last year it was Boston we were talking about at this point, and currently it's Cleveland. And also, not to mention, Golden State, are they back? Like 9-2, that's nothing to be horrible at, and they're up there in points. They're tied with three other teams in the league at 121 points a game. Top scoring team, one of the top scoring teams. What are we looking at here? What are your thoughts so far?
Number one, I think it's insane that we're saying that the Cavs are 13-0 right now. Like that's just a crazy statement in general.
I mean, Mitchell's going off, but so are the other starting four with him. So,
Hey, so Louisville. Um, yeah, I mean, like, good for them, and I think it's awesome because I don't feel like the Cavs as a whole, I don't feel like have been um really excited or been like big news, honestly, since like LeBron left, I feel like.
yeah,
Um,
it's true.
so it's kind of cool to like see them like I don't know, like on social media more and like even like the name more. Like it's just fun whenever um a team that's different than just the normal teams that we always talk about are
Yeah,
like coming up again. So, um I think to answer your Golden State question, honestly, I just think that like any team that Steph is on, like they always have a chance.
yeah,
You know, I don't even care who's like who's on his team around him. Like if he's on the team, like you have a fighting chance. Um,
yeah. It's
so
weird. It's weird not to see Clay there anymore.
yeah, did you see what they did for him though? It was really cool.
Yeah, that was nice. He
Yeah.
he almost cried. He was in tears almost.
I probably would have been too.
Yeah. Those
But
those moments you gotta love.
yeah, yeah. That's why we love sports. Um,
Sure.
but I also think it's worth mentioning like the Timberwolves, like that's crazy
Yeah.
that they're what, 6-6?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we got a lot of teams that are around the 500 mark right now, and it's crazy because you don't know which direction they're going to go yet. But
Yeah.
then you have your teams that are just top. So,
Yeah. But it's just like surprising since like last year, you know, they went so far. And then this year they're starting out 6-6. It's just like what's happening? What's happening in there,
Yeah,
you know? So, um,
kind of brings us up to the next one that's getting ready to come up. But
yeah,
yeah,
go.
finish out.
I was just gonna say, I also like to see OKC doing well.
Yeah, that's a team that's kind of my second favorite.
Yeah. They're always kind of like that like underdog team that like
Yeah,
you want to see win, but you like
yeah,
don't think that they will.
it's true. And then they
So
prove you wrong. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
good
So
stuff from them for sure.
yeah. So those are kind of like my main NBA right now takes.
Okay. And
Still
we
early.
we talked Victor Wembanyama next, and I mean, dude had a career night putting up 50 points. He became the fourth youngest player to score that high, the tallest to do so. Um, put up 40 before, but he and the Spurs currently at the 10 seed, and I believe they're one of those 500 teams also. And I mean, they're just looking to get better this season, and I think as this continues, the momentum booster is going to be, yeah, I think that this will be it for them. I don't know, but just kind of
Yeah,
an odd night for him. A great night, but an odd night because you're watching this 7 foot plus dude just knocking down. I think he was 4 for 4 from three, and then the rest of it was inside the arc. And I'm just like, this dude's just out here making everybody look a fool. And even if they go up to try and defend him, you know they're gonna have to foul him because he's way over him.
right. Doesn't even
And
matter.
yeah, it's crazy. But what are your thoughts on this? And then are the Spurs one of the teams that are going to surprise everybody?
You know, I actually have talking like with my family, like I've said that from the beginning of like the Spurs like really have a good squad, you
Yeah,
know? Like I think that they could really like come up and surprise people, especially like, you know, towards the end of the season. Not that we
yeah,
want to think that far ahead yet, um but I also just for the listeners, when we were talking about this before the show, I was like Googling like who are the tallest players, you know? Um and it says that Wimby and Zach Edey are tied for 10th tallest in NBA history. So there's your fun fact of the day.
yeah.
7th or 10th tallest. I didn't know that, so that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, I knew Wimby was up there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've always thought, like I was talking to you, Anthony Davis and Hakeem Olajuwon, which I think they're on that list too that I saw,
Mhm.
um, for sure. But I mean, even those guys weren't that tall, to be honest, but they're tall.
Yeah,
So
it's so crazy to say that. Like sports world is just like a completely different world.
yeah,
Because like,
it is.
yeah, they're like really tall, obviously, but not that tall in the basketball world, you know?
It's got to be in them croissants from France.
Yeah,
They're doing it
maybe
better than we are now, apparently, because they got a lot of good players coming from France as of late.
they do. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
So, all right, on that note, we end up talking big fight. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson tonight. Time's finally come, and well, looks to be happening. Tony, back when we talked about it way back, didn't think that it was going to happen, but any thoughts on this tomorrow? Who you got? Are you going to watch it at all? Are you going to see some highlights? Are you excited for it? And yeah,
I mean, I will go to fights. I mean, like I'll go watch fights just because like they're entertaining and it's fun to like go out to a sports bar. Do I actually personally care? Not really. Um, but I know that like Jake Paul's been getting like a ton of hate from everybody.
yeah,
Actually, and Netflix just came out with like some documentary about it too, like about Jake Paul, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. So I
I
feel like
kind of
there's a
actually
lot
want to
of
see
hype.
that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm not big into all the stuff that they do, but I kind of want to see where he came from. I don't really know his story.
I know. All I really know about him is that he was like a social media star that turned fighter, and now everybody like doesn't like him.
Yeah,
You either love him or hate him, really.
true.
So
Don't know what happened, but maybe watching that we'll figure it out.
yeah, yeah.
But
So yeah, I'll probably watch it. Are you going to?
you know, I was talking, my kids at school brought it up. It's really funny because it's fifth grade that I work with, and they're just talking about it nonchalantly, and I'm like, that's this week, huh? You guys pay attention to that, huh? It's like it's got the attention of kids, so they're doing what they're doing branding wise, marketing wise, and all that. So, do I want to watch it? Well, here's my also thought on that as well. I was talking to one of the kids saying that they have a promo where they already had the first punch and like he made contact with the face and it looked like it was slowing down quite a bit. And I'm like, have they already filmed it? Do they already know the result? Like it's on Netflix, it's being released. It says it's going to be live, but has it been done already? Is my question. And I mean,
Oh,
just watching that kind of promo that they had and the angle that it was at and everything, I'm like, I don't know if I fully trust this now. Like I could have gone without that and then okay, cool. But now it's got me wondering, is this real? So
it could be like AI though.
could be. Could
You
be.
know,
You never know. I mean, could be cake too. Could be cake or fake or so
I love that show.
but man, I don't know. Yeah, I'll watch. I'll watch. But all right. Now we talk soccer, and that's brought to you by the Corner Kick in Neosho. Be sure to stop by the Corner Kick located at 1411 Blue Oak Lane, Suite C, Neosho, Missouri. Have the largest soccer store in Southwest Missouri, Northwest Arkansas, Southeastern Kansas, and Northeastern Oklahoma. Be sure to check them out Tuesday through Sunday for your football needs. And Sam down there's got tryouts for his team coming up. So if you feel the obligation to go try out for some soccer, I think I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a little documentary about myself on my journey into the soccer world. How about that?
Don't hurt
Okay.
yourself.
Huh?
So don't hurt yourself.
You know, I think I'm gonna be on antibiotics by then. I'm sick. Just an FYI. Yeah. Gonna be on some antibiotics, so I might be feeling pretty good that night. And it's gonna be a cold night too, so gonna get my stretching in. Gonna mic myself up, and I'm gonna go out for my tryout. So let's see. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
gotta make the playoff representation, right? I mean, come on. But yeah. So talking football and soccer and all that jazz here in America, and man, last week I saw a fantastically played game up in Kansas City. The Current defeated the Courage 1-0. And I mean, look, the all-around team effort in this match was absolutely phenomenal. I tweeted that the Current were on defense for 65 minutes of 100 minutes in that match. I mean, that's crazy. 35 minutes of the game, they had possession, and the Current controlled the ball pretty well. And then most of it was early in the first half where they controlled it. And then as they scored 8 minutes into the game, I mean, it's ridiculous at how awesome the defense played. Three things that stood out in that match to me that Vlaco and the players said. Number one, first from Vlaco, he said the loss in North Carolina was very good for us. It helped position them to be better and prepared, and it helped with their tactics going into the playoffs, which, okay, yeah, I can see that. And then it also said that the starting roster was hard to he said the starting roster was hard to decide on, but he went with Ellie Wheeler and Claire Hutton in the starting roster due to the preparation before the match and their play with poise in tough situations. And I couldn't agree with that anymore either. I mean, those two have really stepped up this year, both rookies coming in. Claire Hutton, obviously younger than Wheeler, but I mean, both of them have just been phenomenal, and they stepped it up in that match and played some tough defense. And not to mention Ellie Wheeler coming in for Tim Chawinga, when the Orlando player came over her and hovered after she hurt Temois and knocked her down to the ground. And she was basically going like, yeah, come on, get up. What are you going to say now? And then Wheeler goes in and just shoves her across the field. It was beautiful. I mean, that's sportsmanship right there for your own team, obviously. And I mean, that's a good teammate. Someone who has your back in those moments when you're down and someone else is trying to take you over and get into your head, and then you go over, yeah, knock that off, get out of the way, shut up. It was beautiful. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. All three of those were key in this matchup. And yeah, the current now get a tall task of a rematch with the league's best. Orlando really is the team to beat. And do the current what do they need to win? Like, do they go in and just play, or here's what I think. They have to play like they did against the Courage. Don't give up on the front end and attack when you can. And on the back end, defend your keeper. And when your teammate goes down and you see other players step over them or start to make a move or act like they're going to hurt them, yeah, and taunt them, you get them, get in there, set the tone, protect your teammate, and not to mention in this matchup you got world class Marta. Don't let her get under your skin and get a PK. She is absolutely good about doing that. She gets in there, she gets the PK set up, she kicks it across the field, and then typically results in a header into the goal from a player, or just straight up her bending it in there and getting it in for the goal. So defend her, don't create a penalty, and make sure you play solid as well. And then versus Banda, I feel if they do that as well, where they just go in and take care of business with her and they shut those two down, I feel that if they do that and put the pressure early, kind of bend in the middle but don't break, and then late keep that pressure, then you can win. You lose in a close game at home this year. The rematch is what we all expected and came out in a tie. And now we get the revenge tour and bring it home. Like, you win this, you get to come back to Kansas City and you get to play in a championship. How awesome is that? That's not very heard of. I mean, you heard about it in the Tom Brady era for football. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see. But you have any thoughts on the current?
No, to be honest.
No, no. All right.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for him and was glad to be a part of that record breaking experience. And I hope that I'm able to make it out to the championship game. And I hope that the current are going to be there. So Kansas City's got their backs, and they got a huge watch party coming up at CPKC. Think you can still get tickets to get in there. They are free. You just have to reserve your spot because obviously seats are limited. So be sure to get over there and check that out. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun and exciting, obviously. All right. Lastly, in soccer news, we talk Sporting Kansas City, and boy, news this week was interesting and heartbreaking at the same time. And I mean, lots of players leaving Kansas City. Let's go ahead and talk the good stuff. Sporting has exercised 2025 contract options on 7 players. You got Stephen Afrifa, okay, William Agata, Zoran Basong, Logan Ndembe, Mimo Rodriguez, Ryan Sheway, and Robert Voltaire. So that's good news there on that front. A lot of youngsters, a lot of trust in the young guys. But then you have this. They've declined 2025 contract options for Castellanos, Cesarinos, Flores, Chris Rendov, who I thought would have a thriving career in Kansas City, and they're letting him walk out the door just a couple years after being drafted. And then addition to 4 players who are now out of contract and will not return to the club: Dreus Fontas, Tim Melia, Johnny Russell, Remy Voltaire. I'm sorry, but what are you doing there? you're getting rid of the captain and one of the most pivotal changes in the captain and Johnny Russell, if you're unfamiliar with soccer, but you pay attention to sporting. And then Remy Voltaire. Fontas was good too. Melia was a brick for so long, but you knew Melia's time was coming to an end. He's up there in age. His body's taking the wear of the tear. I think he's ready to be done. Maybe be a coach, maybe be a mentor. He's definitely been a mentor over the last couple years to Pulskamp and now Shayway. And I mean, it's crazy to see him go. But I mean, time's going to come on that one for sure. Johnny Russell, even at the end of the season, was ready to come back and said that they hadn't made an offer, yet. And Voltaire, I mean, wherever he ends up, he's going to have success. And I just think that he was used wrong in Kansas City. And very tough player, physical player, very good, and gonna be missed for sure. And then 11 players enter 2025 with guaranteed contracts at Sporting Kansas City. Jake Davis, Fernandez, Leibold, Pulido, Holzkamp, Rodoya, Rosero, Shalloway, Shelton, Tommy, and Vargas. Look, I don't know with the departure of Russell who you're going to make the captain. I mean, Tommy's been the fill-in captain when Russell's been down, but Davis has also taken a big step and come up and been a leader. And I don't know if you give it to the young guy or if you give it to the guy who's going to be there less time. I don't know. Like Jake Davis, they've made an investment in. They want him there. They want to keep him. I feel like he's going to be the face of the franchise. Do you give him that captain title now, or do you have him earn it and continue to let Tommy be the leader next year coming back? And I mean, it's crazy. Even on the Sporting Kansas City 2 side, they've announced their roster moves. Benny Fellenhaber is out as Sporting Kansas City 2's coach, a guy that you brought in to the Ring of Honor this year for your club and brought him into the Hall of Fame for your club in that matter as well. And I mean, it's crazy to see that they're going to let him go. I mean, they've begun a search for the next head coach for that squad. And shortly, I believe that Sporting is probably going to be on the move to get someone to fill in for Peter Vermees too. He didn't really sign a big contract, but if nothing happens this next season, if they don't go make big acquisitions here, because like I said a few weeks back before the season ended, you got a lot going on. You got to get some stuff taken care of. You got to figure out what's going on. You're either fully invested in Shayway and Pulskamp is his backup, or you bring in Pulskamp and Shayway and just kind of alternate them through the season, or you go grab one of the notable free agents at keeper this offseason and take care of business there. But as of right now, 18 players are under contract for this next season, and 2 goalkeepers, 6 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 5 forwards. And I mean, list goes on. And here's kind of a look at the offseason here for the MLS. And December 9th, half day trade window, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Tuesday, December 10th, the CONCACAF Championships Cup draw. December 11th, the MLS expansion draft for San Diego FC. And then College Showcase in San Diego happens December 11th through the 14th. Kind of walking through this off season here. Free agency begins on December 12th. So that's when we're going to probably hear a lot more rumblings. And we're either going to hear a lot of rumblings or it's going to be dead quiet. Literally your only 2 options. I don't think we're going to see a middle there. There's either going to be a lot happening or Kansas City is going to be dead quiet. MLS re-entry draft stage on December 13th. December 19th, MLS Reentry Draft Stage 2. And then MLS Super Draft 2025 will be held on December 20th. So the whole month of December is going to be pretty rocking. And we're either going to see a lot in that free agency beginning for Kansas City, because I think they're going to have to hit free agency early and hard. And if they don't get very much done there, then you're going to have to see what comes up in the draft at the end of December. So lots of answers to be, or lots of questions to be answered. My bad. But we'll see. I'm very saddened by some of those names being gone, especially Johnny Russell. And I think the team and the fans all understand what that means for this team. And I mean, it's going to be a rebuild. You're going down to the bones and building up. So, but on that note, we'll go ahead and head into the local sports update brought to you by Trackside Burgers. They're open at 1515 West 10th Street. Go get some barbecue this weekend, tomorrow, or today. You won't regret it, and check them out. So, Moso Women's Volleyball will host Pitt State tonight at 6 p.m., and it will be military appreciation. And tomorrow they will host Newman at 3 p.m. for Senior Day. So get on out and support your Lions over there. Women's basketball will be heading to the Hampton Inn Classic in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They will take on SBU at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and then Texas A&M International at 1 p.m. Sunday. And men's basketball will head to Quincy University in Quincy, Illinois tomorrow at 6 p.m. And football will close out the season after a big home win last week as they head to Central Missouri tomorrow at 1. Men's and women's basketball both winning at home in their home debuts this week. Men's basketball, I believe, took on Ozark Christian College, and women's hosted Missouri S&T. And both games were, one was a giant blowout, and then one, in my opinion, was a pretty decent blowout in the women's game. Men were up 109 to 70 something, so that was a pretty good win for them at home. Get that motivation going for the season. So yeah, on that note, we go ahead and head into the 2-minute warning brought to you by Ghetto Tacos. On Friday, get 10% off burritos all day long. They do close at 8 p.m. So they're located at 536 Northeast Street, Webb City. Drive-through is available. You can call 417-717-1261. Make sure to stop by and get some good food. Get some masada fries and the new California burrito. But high school football picks are here. District championship weekend in the area. And we got a few teams here. So first up, Carthage will host Webb City. Who you got?
Probably Carthage.
Webb City's on a 2-game winning streak. Carthage did well against Neosho. I want to go Webb City on the upset here.
Okay.
I want to see if they can do it. And they pulled the upset last week in Graham Valley, and they won 21 to 9, something 27-9, somewhere in there. I don't remember the final outcome there. A little foggy on that one. And then Joplin dominated Kickapoo at home. So that's our next one. Joplin heads to Nixa. Nixa's undefeated. Last time Joplin lost 49-0. Who you got?
I think I'm gonna go with Nixa.
So yeah, I'm going upsets here this week. And I mean, it's not because I'm a Joplin guy, but I'm going upsets. Joplin, I'm going to say, punches Nixa in the face this time and catches them off guard, and Joplin wins by less than a touchdown.
Okay, we'll see.
I mean, last year they gave him a pretty good run in the playoffs, so we'll see. Seneca, undefeated. They're going to host Forsyth. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Seneca.
Okay.
Because I've been doing everybody who's been hosting.
I'll take Seneca here. This is the one I want. Forsyth, I don't know much about them, but they don't usually typically go very far in the postseason. It's been a while, so I'm going to go Seneca here. And, well, music's here, and so is the end of another episode. For Tony, Jensen, Clint, and myself, have a great and safe weekend. Make sure you go get some food from any of our sponsors, and I know I'm going to be resting this weekend, so I'm going to have to get some, I don't know, Mexican to clear my nasal or something soupy from somewhere. What you got going on?
This weekend, oh, there's like a holiday market happening that my sister and I are gonna go to, but other than that, it should be pretty chill.
I guess I do, if I'm feeling it, tomorrow I am going to be helping at the 33rd annual craft show at my school, so
Oh,
that
that
should
would
be interesting. Never been to one before. Don't know what it's going to entail, but I heard that there's a lot that happens, so
it'll be fun.
yeah. Handmade holiday market, something like that, yeah.
As long as you feel good.
I'm excited. Speaking of handheld holiday market or whatever, I'm excited for the Hallmark movie with the Kelseys in it. I want to see how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
I almost got to be in it. I got a be on alert text. We may need you to fill in. I didn't get the official, come on up, you're an extra. I got the be on alert. So I thought that was pretty nice. I didn't screenshot it and I did delete it. So I feel bad now.
So,
I got frustrated. I was like, dang it.
yeah.
So, but
That
yeah,
would've been-
it would have been fun. I do know a couple of my buddies up in Kansas City got to go do that. So kudos.
yeah, that's cool.
All right. See y'all next week on the Sports Timeout. Take care.